Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, one half a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us.
Hell yeah.
They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second.
Well, have we seen anything good on the news lately? Let's see. I've seen a lot of things that I don't know will be super important in our life if we go down the road. The reason I talk about this is there was a couple, I think there was a shooting and a stabbing, and the problem is I'm not informed on it, and I'm not sure why there's beeping. I gotta figure that out real quick. The reason I'm not informed of it is there's just been the wall-to-wall coverage of the issues that the Trumps have been having, and the problem with that is that the news. I think it was what was his name back in the day? Not Oprah, but Phil Donahue used to always say, a reporter's job is to be in a bar and, well, already, who wouldn't want to be a reporter? To be in a bar, and if he witnesses a fight, to run outside and yell, "Hey, everybody, there's a fight going on." And he could fill in the details as to what he saw, but the genesis of him reporting that is not that he didn't like somebody, not that he wanted to do a hit piece on are there fights in bars, or it's just he was there, a fight happened, and he reported it. And that's kind of I think the root of what a reporter should be. And instead, I think it when you watch the news, it's turning into them. Sorry, I had to do something real quick. It's turning into them wanting to, I think, take a narrative and before you think, oh yeah, I'm a conservative. No, this is the way I've always felt about the way things have been done. I shouldn't say always. This is the way I've developed my way of thinking. Is I remember a long time ago here in Southern California, I used to listen to KFI because it was one of the strongest AM radios, and that's where Rush Limbaugh got his start. And I used to listen to him, and it was this one station that would just go through, the hills and valleys and trees, and while every other station was, it came in clear as long as you spoke Spanish. So I would listen to him, and he would talk about, I remember when Magic Johnson had AIDS, or HIV. He was diagnosed with it, and it was a big story. And Rush Limbaugh would say, "Oh yeah, you only get HIV when you're having sex with men, so therefore Magic Johnson most likely there's something he's not telling us, inferring that maybe he was gay." And I remember hearing that, and it's just like, I don't know about that one, because usually there's smoke, there's fire, and not that it's the end of the world nowadays, especially if somebody is gay, but back then maybe it was a little more of an alarm, like, oh my gosh, somebody's gay, it's a story. So I think now if somebody's straight, it's a story in Hollywood, just the way it's covered. So anyway, the thing I didn't like about what he was saying, and if I would have agreed with everything else he was saying, you would agree with that too. And then later on he had his he had ear surgery, and ironically he went was going to go deaf, or was going deaf, and he had this transplant in his ear, and I think it saved his career and his livelihood. And, so he started taking pain pills, and I think it got addicted to him. Had a problem with pain pills, and so what you don't want to do is say, okay, I don't like Rush Limbaugh. Here are two things that happened. I am going to use that as ammo to be against this person and everything he says, because later on, if he comes out with a statistic about, let's say, and I'm just reaching in the barrel, about how affirmative action, it actually hurts black people, in that you have somebody like Ben Carson that's a really good doctor, or was a great neurosurgeon. When he walks in a room, a lot of people would kind of, to themselves, that didn't know him or his background, would say, oh, this doctor, he's black. Did he get into his profession because of affirmative action? Of course, if it's not 100% merit based, so now he gets undermined, and a lot of black people say that too. Is when they're in doctor's office, in the back of their mind, they want the best doctor, and they're wondering, okay, if there's a black doctor there, is it because of affirmative action? Not that they're saying he's a bad doctor, but they're just, in their mind, they're thinking, is he the best? Did he get there purely on merit? And I think that's true too. And so I just because I disagree with something doesn't mean I agree with something else. And that I use that case for Rush Limbaugh, because he's a conservative, and people tend to think, oh yeah, once conservative, you're just hook, line, and sinker. Because I think that you could do that on the other side too. If you don't like somebody's liberal policies, well, okay, if they're a liberal, they don't bleed red. If it's red, it's because they're a communist. And the problem is if you look at what a lot of liberals are doing, I think there are some areas that are super effective in how they, their social way of doing things. I mean, you talk about without a lot of the things that they're doing, you're not going to have a preservation of a lot of the arts, and a lot of people feel like they are the only persons that are reaching out to them, whether it's homeless, minority, somebody that isn't, somebody that has a certain disease maybe, and they feel like, oh, if I'm such a small group and we're not very powerful, we don't have a lot of money, that I would fall between the cracks, or get, if you're just a government and you're just concerned about getting votes, I'm screwed, glued, and tattooed. So people feel like, okay, the liberals tend to look out for them, and they're kind of the watchdogs when it comes to these sort of things. So I think if we can get to the point where we are thinking as people that, okay, here are the facts, and let's lay them all out. And if you're in Vegas, if you have 51% of the odds, you built Las Vegas. I mean, you look up all those buildings on Flamingo Boulevard. They are basically Vegas Strip. All those buildings are paid for. All the that downtown they have the outdoor, the like theater. You look up and it looks really super expensive, but it's really super paid for. How is that? Because they got at least 51% of the odds. And does it mean they're right all the time? No, obviously not. Some people are professional gamblers. I'm not one of them. I'm a professional loser. In fact, I think I've probably built a wing on some of those buildings because of my gambling habits. I think there's a psychologist help with the making of the software on, okay, this person's going to feel invested, they're going to spend more, and they do it exactly off of my patterns. I do feel like I should volunteer my time at these people that make the software for Las Vegas and say, look, just hook me up to your brainwave machine and EKG monitors and everything else you have, and just read me, and you guys will become even more successful, because I am literally the worst gambler, because once I start dropping money in the machine, I feel like, all right, I'm a little bit invested. These guys are going to pay me back at least a little bit just because they want me to come back. So I put more and more in, and I still think to this day that I am so due for a big payoff. So I'm waiting, and that keeps me going back. I don't have a gambling problem per se. It's not on a regular basis, but when I go, my money, what's that saying? Money talks and mine just says goodbye. So anyway, but I do enjoy, I take the kids now, and it's money spent, but even if I just go to the Grand Canyon, I spend a lot of money there too. I'll take the tours, and we'll buy bikes and different things. So it's not like I'm spending thousands and thousands that I don't have. It's just, the whole point of, if you drop a fishing hook in water, you expect to catch a fish now and then. So, so far, no fish. So anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, so you got the 51% of odds, and of course, Vegas is wrong a lot. And of course, whoever you're listening to is wrong, but when now it just kind of, it feels good because you're getting on this person because you don't like them. Well, now it's almost turning into gossip, and gossip is when you're saying something that isn't going to make a difference, that isn't going to change anything. It kind of reinforces okay, this is us over here and that's them, and now I'm pointing out negatives just to make us feel good. And notice, I'm not talking about left or right, and hopefully people will wonder what I am, at least as far as my party goes. And again, the older I get, the less I guess I'm not following one party or another, because I think they're all human. All these guys running for office, they all have their opinions, and there are certain issues I like, but the problem is let's say we're talking to somebody on the other side of the aisle, and they're not the same party as I am, but they happen to be, remember I said you want to at least be right 51% of the time. What if they're right, they're in that 49%, they're right about something that my party isn't really behind? So now I'm faced with a choice. Okay, do I back what my party believes and try to explain it away because we're right more than we're wrong, or do I look at this this thing that we're talking about now and reason it out and say, okay, fair enough. In this case, yes, this is right. And I think that's what ultimately you have to do in politics is find out what works, find out what doesn't work, and keep on eventually going towards that road. And you don't back off at all. I do some work in Hollywood where some people are extremely liberal, and when that's okay if the person is smart. A guy I talked to